Hello, guys and girls. This is Lefty. I'm the organizer of this Gurcles session. Gurcles stands for Guru Circles, and today's guru is a person I really appreciate and also love very much. So welcome, Steli.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Today's session is From Zero to Hero, Lessons Learned in Entrepreneurship and Sales. And for those who followed the event page, I've posted a picture to actually have a teaser for this session here. And this is a poster of the very first startup that we worked on together. Let's say you had a great idea, and in the very early days of conceptualizing, strategizing, making sense of your ideas, we also hang out in my living room, which was the first official international headquarter. But just tell us how you got started as a super cool entrepreneur and what was Super Cool School all about.
Growing up, I had a very troubled relationship with school and learning in general. You know, a lot of problems at school and really disliked learning. I didn't read a book till I was 16. Just generically was wasting all my time as, you know, doing stupid shit and watching television for my entire kind of, you know, first 60 years. And then something significant happened that kind of separated school and my experiences there from learning, and actually made me realize that learning was a way for me to empower myself and enable myself to get what I want in life. So I really started to fall in love with learning and start falling in love with reading. So over the years, I grew a pretty strong passion for education and for the power of learning. And, you know, a few years into my entrepreneurial journey, you know, I did a few smaller businesses back in Germany. I eventually had this idea, you know, with the kind of growth of the web and the whole movement with YouTube and Wikipedia and Web 2.0, that was a hot thing back then. I had this idea to build a global school, an online school that would empower everyone around the world to teach and study from each other for free, and really empower people to fuel their personal growth by sharing what they know and learning from others what they want to know. And that's how the whole journey with Super Cool School got started. Like, I sucked at school, so I thought I'm qualified to change the education system around the world, and was very passionate about that. And I had amazing people and friends like you that immediately got it and were, you know, as passionate about the idea as I was and started supporting me. So we started gaining a little bit of momentum, and that's how the idea was born. And just a few months after the idea was born, you know, we struggled to find people that we could learn from, how to build a global technology platform. And this idea started forming in the back of my mind that Silicon Valley and the legend of Silicon Valley would be the right place for me to go to actually build this and make this real.
I can totally confirm that you got me with this idea. Back then, I was still working at Daimler in the brand communications department. That was my daytime job. And after work, we had some fun. I will never forget running around with these posters and hanging them onto the blackboards of universities, Brazilian students helping us out. And it was really a fun time. And the question I have is, what is an entrepreneur to you, and can you learn to become an entrepreneur?
I think anybody can be an entrepreneur. I don't think you're born an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is nothing else than actually like being somebody that is willing to take risks, is excited about building something. And by that definition, more often than not, can look at the world and disagree with it. Like just being able to see how things are being done and say, I think this can be done better, or I think this sucks, or I think this needs to exist. And that's typically a trait of somebody that's not totally like blind to the possibility of change and that's totally comfortable at the way things are. That's typically an individual that sees an opportunity to create some kind of a change in the world and then is confident enough to believe that she can do it, right? And not just like, oh, somebody should be doing this. No, I think I could do this. So I think having that mentality or mindset helps. I think that mentality or mindset, some people seem to just be born with it. but I think people can learn it. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, you probably can be an entrepreneur.
What is more important, passion and drive or expertise and skills when it comes to being an entrepreneur?
I think both things are important. I think excitement and passion is important to start, and expertise is important to finish, right? So if you're only in the business of starting, then you don't need expertise. If you're only in the business of coming in to finish something somebody started, then you don't need that much passion. You can just work with expertise. But if you actually want to start things and bring them to their full conclusion, manifest them to their full potential, you will need both.
Would you agree if I say that it's better to start from a safer position and then jump into the wild later on? Or would you quit and go full speed into the new venture?
I think it depends. I think it depends on you as an individual in your situation. I think some people are better served by trying their ideas part-time as they are in a safer environment. And in some scenarios, it's better to jump into the cold water, full speed ahead, burn the bridges, and go for it versus doing it a little bit.
I think you're very right that there's not one size fits all or one style fits all. Everybody needs to make a decision, him or herself, and based on like their situation and also value system and how they feel most comfortable. I think if you're a person that is easily stressed out, it's always better to have like some kind of cushion until you see some real traction. I mean, it's interesting to see that both works and it's a different philosophy. There's a question on Twitter from Douglas, and Douglas asked if it's necessary to fail before you succeed as an entrepreneur.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a requirement. I mean, look at people like Mark Zuckerberg. First business, massive success. Steve Jobs, for that matter, first business, massive success. There's many, many first business, massive success stories out there. Just as many as like it took 20 businesses to have an overnight success. Just nobody knows about that stuff. I think that entrepreneurs that never failed have a different perspective, and in some ways, their perspective is probably braver and more interesting. And in some ways, it's probably, probably tainted by their success. Like they might not have a realistic outlook on everything they do. So you see some people that had massive first successes, and then the 5 businesses afterwards all failed. And many of them maybe failed because they were so successful the first time, and they just approached things as if you can never fail. So there's no one formula, but my answer is I don't think so. I don't think you need to fail to succeed. I think failure can teach you a lot about yourself, teach you your strengths, your weaknesses, can test yourself. And with that, you can build wisdom. I think it's hard to build wisdom without failure, but I don't think you need to fail to succeed.
Let's talk about startup sales. And startup sales mean there's a new product, probably very immature, at least not maybe perfect yet. How do you sell such a product?
So that's a great point. So whenever it comes to selling something that probably doesn't exist yet or doesn't exist in its full capacity, it's important to keep a balancing act between selling the vision and selling reality. So I need to be able to talk about vision and get people a little bit excited about that, but then also talk about the reality of today. What is the imperfect, minimal viable product, the thing that I have today that's kind of just a spectacle, like a little atom of value that I can create in the world today, not in 10 years when everything worked the way I wanted it, but what can I do for you today? And is the thing I'm doing for you today, is that exciting enough for you to actually buy it or use it? Not just say you like it. Liking doesn't matter, right? Will you actually buy it? So when you do new things, you need to be careful. You want to pitch people, you want to be excited, but you also want to tell them about the thing that exists today or that you can create into existence within a short period of time and see if they actually buy it or invest in it or really use it. So you need to keep that balance in mind when you do something new. And then, to go out there and actually talk to people. Like the first thing you should do when you kind of customer development or sales exploration, or if you want to call it lean sales, is you have an idea, you want to see if there's a real market out there. Go to real people, talk to them person in person and see their reaction and see if they actually would want to buy that. So if they tell you, oh, this is an exciting idea, Ask the question. Don't just go, oh, awesome, and leave and then tell your co-founders, oh, they were totally excited. No, ask the question, oh, you're excited about this idea? Awesome. Would you buy? If we had X, if we delivered to you X in the next 4 weeks, will you take out your credit card and purchase this? And then see what they're going to say, right? That information is valuable, not just the excitement at the front.
Powered by Hatziioannou.